The first concept that we're going to talk about is a package. Okay. What's a package? Package is basically a very simple concept where you can transfer an app or a few components from one org, Salesforce org, to another Salesforce org. Okay, that's what a package does. For example, I have developed something on my developer org. Okay, you developed an application, it's ready. Now you need to transfer this entire application to someone else's org. How will you do that? So package is the answer to that. Package will help you do that. So let me show it to you how a package works. Okay. So here we are. All right. So how do you create a package? It's pretty simple. You just need to go to setup, create package. Okay. So all that you have to do is you just have to create a new package. Uh, Give it whatever name you want. Save it. Now this is a container for your components. So what you can do now is you can add the components in this package and you can send this package to the other org. Okay. So instead of sending the individual components, we create a package. You have the option of adding components into this package. See, you have created a package called my app. You have the option of adding components to it. Add to package. So let's say this app you want to add to the package, you have added. So all these things have got added along with the app. So many things got added. If you want to add a few more components, you can add into the package. So if you look in here, component type, almost everything is available. Page layouts, workflows, validation rules, email templates. So whatever you can develop in Salesforce, everything is available, right? So you can add whatever components you want to, transfer from one org to the other org, add them into the package, and then just go ahead and upload the package. So once you're done with adding the components, now I've already added so many components into this package. All that I have to do is I just have to upload the package. Just give it a version name. I call it January 2016. Upload. Okay. So this time I've added a few custom objects to the package and uploaded. This will take a few seconds to get uploaded. And the moment you're done with your upload, the moment your upload is complete, you will get an installation URL. Okay. So what does this installation URL do? This installation URL, needs to be sent to the person who needs to install this package. So all that you have to do is you just have to share this installation URL with anyone else who needs to install this package. That's it. So the other person can actually use this link and they will get an option of installing the package like this. Okay. So here you will get an install option. In this case, it's showing this cannot be installed because this is already from this same org. But other orgs will have the option of installing. So you will get an install my app option. Here you can click on it and you can install it. So what will installing do? Installation of the package will actually create all these components in your uh, other org. Got it? So if I created something, I add it to the package, upload it, and give you the installation URL. You can use that installation URL to get all those components within your org, right? So you really don't need to go and develop everything right from the scratch. So if you have built something on an org and you want to, take it to the other org, package is the simple solution for it. So yeah, let me know if anyone has a question with the package thing. It's very, very simple. You just need to know what all components you want to transfer, create a package, put the components. It's like the way you do a courier, you courier some stuff, right? So you buy an envelope, put all your papers into one envelope, close it, and then give it to the courier company. That's what you're doing. You're just creating a package, put all the components into that package, upload it, get the installation URL, and give it to the other person. The other person just needs to click on the installation URL. That's it. Okay. Let me know if anyone has a doubt.
Okay.
Yep.
So if he's sharing that URL, the person who doesn't have the like custom field or object, the person uh, he is not the like permission. He's not the permission. He can use that the custom object and fields without permission. He has.
Only the component is getting transferred. Now, permission and all those things is again that org's administrator will have to do.
Okay.
When you buy a new TV or any product, that the shopkeeper does not decide that who is going to watch that TV or who is going to drive your car, right? So this package is doing that. It is just transferring the component here. Now your administrator has to do this. If you have taken a package from me, your administrator will decide who's going to actually use which all components and not. Make sense, right?
Okay. Thank
An
you.
external administrator cannot decide that who will have what permission. Those components are created. Now your administrator will go and control the permissions the way it is done. So it's just helping you create things. It's not actually controlling anything else. It is just the components which are being given. Got it?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Now, so this is something which works when you are working with two different orgs, completely two different orgs. So let's say you develop something in a developer org and you want to move it to your company's Salesforce org. Or I developed something, I want to give it to you. So in that case, this package system works. But if you are working in a company and okay, so let's not take this scenario right now. Let's first of all, before that, let's understand sandbox. I'll come to that part a little later. Okay, sandbox. Do you guys have any idea what is a sandbox? Anyone? What is a sandbox?
It's an environment to test.
Environment to test, only test, or something else? Why
Test
do
the
we need a sandbox?
development what you have done.
Why do we need a sandbox?
Before going to production, we want to see how the performance is.
Yes, right.
You cannot write code in production. So you have to write code in sandbox and then you have to deploy in production.
So basically, the point is, it's very simple. Let me use simpler words to explain what these guys are trying to tell us. You have a Salesforce environment. Okay, let's say you have some 100 people using this environment. You have thousands of clients listed on this environment. Every day there are a lot of interactions. Cases are coming from the clients. So a live work is going on. So this is a live environment. Okay, we call this production environment. Now think about it, just imagine this situation. There's a company, there are, let's say 100 employees who are actually dealing with the customers through using that platform to deal with the customers. They are taking the customer request and they are actually following with the customers. And then there are opportunities, campaigns going on. So a full, fledged work is going on. And just, somewhere there is a developers sitting here, and he is kind of trying and testing his things. He creates an object, then he all of a sudden creates a field, and then he tries a validation rule. What will happen? Is it a good thing to do? No, right? Because if the developer keeps on creating fields like this, all of a sudden he defines a validation rule, he creates a formula field all of a sudden, then the work of the all these people is going to get affected. Moreover, your clients are also going to get affected, right? Because developer has to do the testing. If you create something, the way we do, right? Every time you create a workflow rule, you just keep on, you just test it. If that is done on the production environment, don't you think it will become a big challenge? Because in your developer org, when you do this, you are the only one who is using it. But if there are 50, 100 people apart from you, your test workflow rule will also get triggered for all the records. Everyone will get your test email. If you define a validation rule or a trigger just for testing something, that's all also going to affect everyone. So it's not a very good practice for the developer to do his development activities on this environment. So what do we do then? For that reason, but development activities are also important. So for that, what we do is we provide the developer with another environment. It happens with all software development in this world. It's not only about Salesforce. It happens with everything. If you talk about Facebook, so Facebook is also something very common which you can actually relate to. So Facebook has an environment which we access, and they are constantly developing. They are all constantly improving. Every day, month or so, you will see that they come up with new updates and stuff like that. If they start doing it on the live environment, what will happen? All of a sudden, your Facebook will start changing, and you will not have a very good experience. So what do? They use a separate environment to do that, which is very similar to the actual environment, but it's separate. This is called sandbox. Okay. So usually what needs to be done, you should develop things here, test them here, and then if you find that okay, it's working absolutely fine, all the requirements are being met, then transfer it to the production. Okay. So ideally everything should be developed in a sandbox and then moved into the production phase. Okay. So that's the logic. So Salesforce also provides you the sandbox option. Unfortunately, you do not have the sandbox available in your developer org. When because we are using our developer editions, they don't provide sandbox with the developer edition because developer edition is anyhow a free edition, so they don't give us sandbox access to this. So, but don't worry. All that we have to do is we just have to understand the steps. Okay, and then if you just listen to what I'm saying in the next 5-10 minutes, you will not have any difficulty working with sandbox because it looks completely similar to the production. So your production sandbox, everything is going to look the same as your developer edition looks, which is like this. Okay, so there are just a few things which you need to keep in mind about sandbox. Okay, how do you differentiate a sandbox from a developer environment? How do you log in into sandbox? And how do you move things from sandbox to production? That's all that you need to keep in mind. All right. So first thing, every sandbox will have a sandbox name, and when you're logged into sandbox, that sandbox name will appear here. Okay, let's say your sandbox name is S1, then this text sandbox S1, this text will appear here, right at the top of your setup or the menu drop down. Okay, this is where it's gonna appear. Alright. So the moment you look into it, if you find something here that written sandbox written here, you can understand that it's a sandbox. Else, it's production environment. Okay. So that's one thing, identifying. Now, login into sandbox. How do you log in into sandbox? Logging into sandbox is pretty simple. The link that you need to use for logging into sandbox is test.salesforce.com. You don't use salesforce.com. You use test.salesforce.com to log in into sandbox. Okay. Then your username. Your username for sandbox is going to be whatever your username is dot the sandbox name. So for example, you are trying to log in into a sandbox. Name of the sandbox is S1. Your username is abc at xyz.com. So your sandbox username is going to be this abc.xyz.com.s1. So this will be your sandbox login username. Password remains same if you don't change it. Fine. So just keep this thing in mind. Whenever you have to log in into Sandbox, you should be logging into test.salesforce.com. Username should be whatever your normal username is dot sandbox name. That's it. Okay. Now deploying components from sandbox to production. Now, as we understand that all the development will happen in sandbox, testing will happen in sandbox. Once you are okay with all the functionalities and everything, to transfer these things from sandbox to production, right? Doesn't it sound similar to the package concept? The only difference is in package we were talking about two different orgs. Here we are talking about two connected orgs, right? The concept is same. There also I'm transferring a few components. Here also I'm going to transfer a few components. That's it. So you just have to keep this package thing in mind because sandbox thing ideally you will not be able to test. You do not have a sandbox access. But if you understand the package concept properly, you can use the same logic to transfer components from sandbox to production. So I'll tell you the steps also. In case of sandbox, we don't call it package, we call it a change set. Okay. In case of a sandbox to production movement, the terminology which is used is change set. It's not package. Okay. So steps are pretty simple. So first thing, step one, develop in sandbox whatever you want to develop. Step two, uh, test in sandbox. Step 3, go to setup. Within sandbox, you just have to go to setup, deploy. There's an option called outbound change set. Create new change set. Step 4. So pretty similar to the package concept now. Just that the navigation is a little different. It's from setup, deploy, outbound, chain set. Okay, so you create a new chain set, add components. Adding components is exactly the way you added components into package. Add components to chain set, and instead of upload, you say deploy here. Now, so your components have been sent from sandbox to production. Now, how do you receive those in production? So now you just have to go to production. You have sent these things from sandbox outbound. Now in production, you just have to go and receive that change set. So all that you have to do is you go to production or log in into production, log into production environment, and in the production environment, all that you have to do is log into production environment, and in the production environment, all that you have to do is you just have to go and click on setup, inbound chain set. Okay, select the chain set. So in the production environment, you will go to inbound chain set. So you did an outbound chain set from there. You created a new chain set and deployed it. When you go to inbound chain set, you will get to see that chain set that was deployed. Okay, you just have to select the chain set and you just have to go to step 7 and say deploy. Sorry, here it was upload. Here it is deploy. That's it. Okay, so here there is no concept of installation URL. Something which is sent an outbound as an outbound chain set from a sandbox is received as an inbound chain set in the production environment automatically, because your sandbox and production are connected. So that's the process. So if you just understand these 7 simple steps, you are absolutely fine. So all that you have to do is, whenever you're doing a development, just log in into the sandbox environment, develop it within sandbox, test it in the sandbox. The moment you are satisfied with the performance, just do these simple steps and you will be able to deploy things from sandbox to production. Let me know if there is any difficulty. So do we understand the difference between a package and this change set? Package is the concept which is used if your orgs are not connected. But chain set is the concept which is used if you are talking about sandbox production of the same org. So sandbox and production are two connected orgs of the same company, right? So in this case, you can use chain set. If you are actually willing to share it with someone who has an org which is not connected to yours, then you can use the package concept. Okay, so this is the second way of transferring things, but this is within connected orgs. Let me know if anyone has a question or doubt here.
Had a question.
Hmm.
Jeet, in the login, the username, you said that you have to put the sandbox name.
Hmm.
Now, if you join a company as a new employee, they give you the name of the sandbox?
Yeah, obviously, yes. Otherwise, who else can give?
No. Okay.
So
Okay. So
when
then when you get your user,
So administrator has the option of creating the sandbox. When he creates the sandbox, he names it something. I mean, ideally, like we name something for object and field for everything we give a name. They give a name for the sandbox. Now, what is their name of their sandbox? They will only know. So they will give you the name of the sandbox also.
Just one question.
Hmm.
Difference between outbound chain set and inbound chain set
Hmm.
and new chain set.
Difference between outbound chain set, inbound chain set, and new chain set. Okay. So there is no difference or there is no comparison between these three things. These are three different things. So outbound chain set is basically the link where you can create the chain set. Chain set is again, set of components. You can create the chain set to be sent to the production. Inbound chain set is the link available from where you can receive the chain sets which were sent. Got it? So it's like outgoing and incoming calls. So that is also a call. This is also a call, but outgoing call you are actually dialing the number and calling me, and incoming is when I receive that call. So that is it. So you are sending it from the sandbox, yes, and you are receiving it in the production, right?
Okay.
And basically, what is actually being exchanged is change set.
Yeah.
What is going from the sandbox to production is a chain set. Chain set is again a set of components, nothing else. A package where you are putting components. Just that the different terminology being used here. All right. Okay. So there's one more thing which I want you to understand. Usually, a company can have two different types of structure. This is just for your understanding. Company can have two different types of structure. Sometimes the company will have a sandbox and they will have a production. Okay. Now, this is applicable in case the company feels that the developer who is developing on the same environment they can do the testing. Because if there is a sandbox and then there is a production, then definitely development and testing both are happening on the same sandbox. Fine. So if the company feels that the testing can be done on the same environment, then this kind of a model is absolutely fine. There is another model where the company feels that no, adequate testing cannot be done on this environment itself. I need person, someone else who is a testing specialist. If the developer does the testing, uh, you might not, trust his testing, whatever he has done or not, or how much data can you actually deploy on this environment on which the developer is doing the development. So some cases the company might feel that they need a slightly different model. So there what happens, there is a developer sandbox, then there is a testing sandbox, and then there is a production environment. So this is the development sandbox, this is the development sandbox, this is the testing sandbox, this is production. Okay. This is applicable in case the company feels that they need real good testing before it is actually moved into production. Okay, with some actual data, with some rigorous testing. So in this case, what happens? Developer develops things here, does a basic testing if the functionality is working, passes it on to the testing environment. There is some testing professional sitting on this environment, or an administrator kind of a support admin professional can actually do the testing here with multiple records, different scenarios, different set of data. Okay, and finds okay, everything is fine. If he finds difficulties here, he'll again send it back to the developer. Okay. So on. So whatever is happening between these two guys. If things are not going here. Till the time he says final okay, then it moves here. Alright. So these two can be the development life cycles. So either it goes from development to production directly, or it goes from development testing to production. Okay. Why this is important for you to understand, because some of you guys are gonna put some experience in your resumes. So the moment you try and put some experience and you're trying to say that I worked on a project, you might be asked this question, that what kind of a development life cycle you had. Got it? So none of them is a wrong option. Both of them are correct, but situation based. So if you pick or if you start talking about one of the options, you should have a reason to justify it. Okay. or at least you should have an understanding that there are these two options available. So it makes sense, right? So some companies would just be happy with the basic kind of testing which happens at the developers end, and they are fine. Some companies actually want to test it thoroughly, that let's do a thorough testing and understand whether everything is working fine in respect to any set of records, or any kind of situation. Is it working fine for 5,000 records? Is it working fine for 10,000 records? Now you cannot have all that set of data in your developer environment, right? You might not have that much of all the data dumped into the developer environment. So in that case, what you can do is you can just keep the developer and testing environment separate. So the same thing will happen here. The same thing will happen. So from the developer environment, things will be outbound. It will be received in the testing environment. From testing, it will be sent outbound and it will be received in the production. Got it? Okay. So that's about the sandbox understanding. Now there's another concept that we're going to talk is force.com site. If anyone has any other question on sandbox, please let me know before I get into this force.com site.
Yeah, quick thing, Jeet. Quick question.
Hmm.
The videos what you shared, right? The admin and developer videos.
Can we talk about these videos maybe after this session? Let's
Okay, sure.
focus
Yeah.
on. Okay, let's focus on the topic. Yeah, anything related to topic?
Yes, I have seen some of the question I have in the website. What is a package and unmanaged package?
Managed and unmanaged package, right?
Yeah, managed
Okay,
and
so there is a small concept. Usually, your developer edition allows you to create an unmanaged package. Good thing. So you can have two types of packages: managed and unmanaged. Okay. A managed package. So your developer org allows you to create an unmanaged package. What's a managed package? A managed package is where your code and you know the code that you've written and stuff like that is not visible to the user. Okay, and they cannot change it. So whatever package you have created, for example, you have developed an app like Salesforce. When we're actually using Salesforce application, we're using it as a package, right? But are we able to see the code that Salesforce has created? No, we are not able to see the controllers and the codes and everything. Their logics we cannot see. The same way, if you are creating a package, which is like an app, managed package does not display the code to the users. People who install it, they don't get to see the code and stuff like that. And as a result, they don't even have the option of editing it. So they just have to use whatever logics you have written. In unmanaged package, everything is open. So if you transfer things from your org to my org, I will have everything open and I will be able to edit things and change them and everything. Right. The managed package is usually meant for Salesforce partners who develop apps on behalf of Salesforce.com. So so that they are not exposing their code. Otherwise, what will happen if they are exposing their code? One, there will be difficulty. People, the end users will go and change the code, and then things will not work, and then there will be problem. They don't want to do that. Secondly, they don't even want people to copy their code and create a duplicate package. Got it? So that's the concept: managed and unmanaged.
that. Yeah, and I have seen the managed packages are upgraded and unmanaged packages are not upgraded like that. I have seen.
Yes. So again, as I said, managed package is meant for Salesforce partners, who are actually building on behalf of Salesforce.com. Correct. Upgrade can happen in both of them. You can upgrade. Upgrade means basically coming up with a new version, coming up with a new functionalities. But for a managed package, because it's a customer who is actually taking it through the partner of Salesforce, they can actually do the updates automatically. Whereas in unmanaged package, because it's your thing, you basically have to go and tell the customer that okay, I have a new version available. Please take this link and you update it. Got it?
Thanks, Steve. Mm.
Okay. Yeah. So coming back to the force.com sites. Right. So the force.com sites is basically the concept of hosting a visual force page on a uh, public environment, basically. All right. So see, we have data in Salesforce. Just try and understand the requirement first. We have data in Salesforce. Okay. So now anyone who has a login ID password can come into your Salesforce and see your data. Correct. But if you want to show the data to people um, through an open website, then what do you do? That people, even people who do not have a login ID password, even they should be able to see your data. Then what do you do? Then you have the option of creating a force.com site. So what is a force.com site? Force.com site is basically a public site which can host your visual force page, and your visual force page obviously can have your data. So if you create a visual force page with data and if you host it on a public site, everyone will be able to see it. Clear? That's what a force.com site does. So for creating a public site, what do you need? You need two things. One is a web address and one is the page that you want to display. So one, you have to design the page which you want to display. Secondly, you need to have an address where people can find your page, like google.com. So that's their address. Facebook.com, that's their address. So we also need a web address, right? So Salesforce gives you the web address. Web address part, Salesforce will give you. Page you can design in Visual Force. So let's see how Salesforce actually helps us get the web address. All that you have to do is you just have to go to setup and then go to develop, and under develop you click on sites. So Salesforce will give you a web address like this, yourcompanyname.force.com. Okay. So you just check availability if it is available. Okay, it's available. So this is gonna be your web address. Now all that you have to do is you just have to design a page and put it on this address. That's it. Anyone who comes to this particular web address will be able to see your page and whatever data is displayed on that page. That's how simple things are. If you want to make your data public, you want people to see your data. Sometimes it happens, right? If your products listed in Salesforce and you just want to have a page where people can actually see that information from the products table, you can just go ahead and create a visual force page, list all the products, and create a site like this. So now I've checked the availability of this. Just click on this and say register my course.com domain. So your domain will get registered. It will take approximately a minute or so. You cannot modify it. Okay, it's registered. It will take almost a minute for it to get registered. Yes, registration done. Now this is your web address. Okay, so because this is a developer edition, that's the reason why this is such a long name. Otherwise it would have been whatever your company name.force.com. Now all that you have to do is you just have to put the page into this location. That's it. How do you do that? First of all, let's take a visual force page which we are going to use here. Let's check which page we are going to use here. So we already have a lot of pages, so I'm going to use any one of those. Okay, page 14, let's say. This is the page that I want to display on the public site. Page 14. Okay, let me display this page 15. This looks to be a better page. So now this is my Visual Force page. You just need to prepare your Visual Force page. We already have this page 15 ready. I want to display it on the public site. The public site domain is ready. All that you have to do is click on new and build your site. So name it whatever you want. Make the site active. Okay, till the time you do not activate the site, it's not going to be available. So it will the end users will get to see that as in maintenance. Active site homepage will be your Visual Force page. So this is where you will make it. You will select the Visual Force page, page 15 that you want to display. That's it. So when the site is active, this is going to be the homepage of the site. Save it. Right. So your site is ready. Click on this link. So this is the URL. People may, end users should be able to find this page on this URL. I'm gonna put it in the chat window. You guys can also click on it. Now, though you are not logged in into this account, but still you can see this page. You will only be able to see this page, nothing else. On this URL. Just try if everyone is able to see information there on the page.
Can you hear me, Jim?
Yeah, I can hear you.
One quick question. Maybe it's not related.
Hmm.
Uh, like when they create live chat, they hosted that page on the public site. So they did using the sports.com sites, right? So they just created a new layout and visual push page for live chat and then hosted it in public site. So they did same way as you did, right?
So we could not understand what are you trying to say. Come a little closer.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right, so I'm trying to say, so if I want to create a live chat page, so I can
Hmm.
create a new Visual Force page for live chat and I can host that page on the public site,
Right,
right?
right,
So, exactly same way as you did, right?
right. So it's just that whatever you can bring on Visual Force page and then you can actually take it to the public site. Now, anyone who has tested and not finding the data or finding the data can just get a feedback. I'll be able to see data. Yes, no, quick.
No.
No, you can't see the data. So the only reason why you cannot see the data is you are able to access the page. I mean, you actually get into the page, but you still cannot see data. See, when you click on the link, it does not show you any data. That's what it's doing. Why is it doing so? Because I am still to give the data access on the page. So whenever you put a Visual Force page on a public site, you have to allow which data needs to be displayed there. So that needs to be controlled. When you do that, after completing your site, you just have to do a small thing, which is the access setting. Because Salesforce again, someone might by mistake create a Visual Force page and host it on the public site. So just to ensure the security, they have with this additional option of giving access settings. So only putting the Visual Force page on the site will not show any data on public. You have to manually go and put what data you want to display on that page. So for that, you just have to click on this public access settings, and you have to define what data you want to display. So it's more like a profile only. So what data we want to show on that page? Accounts. So currently, if you see, there is no permission for account data. So you just have to give a read permission for account data. This should resolve the issue. So whatever data you are trying to display on that particular page, you should give the permission, at least a read permission for that data. Now we have given a read permission for it. Click on save. Come back to this page, refresh it. You guys can also try and refresh and check if you are able to see data now. Yeah, I can see. Can you all see the data? Refresh the page and try to click. Okay, so very simple. Just decide on what information you want to show on your public site, build a Visual Force page the way you want to display the information, create your web address with the course.com, and then create the page and just go and allow the access of that data that you want to display on that page. That's it. If you want to display accounts in along with accounts, if let's say I had another table of displaying opportunities there, so then in that case you needed to actually go and do the public access setting and give access, read access to opportunities also. So click on edit in case opportunities was also there in that page, then you should have actually gone and given access for read access for opportunities as well. Got it? That's it. Let me know if there is any question or doubt.